November 9th changed everything. The James Webb Space Telescope and the Virtual Telescope Project released their latest photographs of 3I/ATLAS, and what they captured has left the scientific community in complete disarray. These weren't just any images. They were supposed to answer questions. Instead, they've unleashed a crisis in modern astrophysics. What the images show is unnervingly simple: a compact, brilliant point of light. Sharp, clean, perfectly symmetrical. But here's what they don't show, and this is what has everyone terrified. No tail, no dust cloud, no gas halo, no outgassing, nothing. Absolutely nothing that should accompany an object hemorrhaging billions of tons of material as it screams past the sun. The most disturbing part? It looks exactly identical to the photographs taken by Hubble back in July. Frame by frame, pixel by pixel, the same unchanging dot of light staring back at us from the void for an object that should have already vaporized more than 5 billion tons of its mass due to intense solar heating. This stability isn't just unusual. It's a cosmic middle finger to every law of cometary physics we've ever established. Some scientists are calling it an anomaly. Others are calling it something far more profound. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb didn't mince words. This is a wake-up call from the cosmos. Because if these images are showing us what they appear to be showing, if this is truly a body accelerating through our solar system without ejecting a single molecule of gas or dust, then 3I/ATLAS cannot be a comet. It might not even be natural. The implications are staggering. We're not just looking at an object that breaks a few rules. We're staring at something that shouldn't exist according to everything we know about how celestial bodies behave, and it's heading closer to Earth with each passing day, silent and unchanged, as if the sun itself has no power over it. Let's talk about what should have happened. When a comet approaches the sun during perihelion, solar radiation bombards its icy surface with relentless energy. The ice doesn't melt, it sublimates, transforming directly from solid to gas in massive explosive bursts. This process is violent, messy, and completely unavoidable. A typical comet approaching this close to our star would lose approximately 5 to 10 billion tons of material, creating a spectacular tail stretching millions of kilometers across space. That's not a guess. That's physics. It's as reliable as gravity. Every comet we've ever observed has followed this pattern without exception. Hale-Bopp, Halley, Neowise, all of them obeyed the rules. They approached the sun, they heated up, they vaporized, and they gave us those breathtaking tales that have inspired humanity for millennia. 3I/ATLAS should have followed the same script. Based on its estimated mass of 33 billion tons and its trajectory, bringing it within 203 million kilometers of the sun, calculations predicted catastrophic mass loss. The surface temperature should have exceeded 300 Kelvin. Water ice should have erupted into space. Rocky materials should have fragmented. The object should be visibly smaller, dimmer, surrounded by a massive coma of debris. But when astronomers compared before and after images, they found zero change. Not a single measurable difference. The brightness remained constant. The shape remained intact. No tail appeared. No coma formed. It's as if the sun's radiation simply slides off its surface like water off glass. Experts are using words they rarely use in scientific discourse: impossible, inexplicable, unprecedented. Dr. Gianluca Massi from the Virtual Telescope Project called it the most baffling observation I've ever made. When scientists with decades of experience start saying things like that, you know we've entered uncharted territory. The physics hasn't just failed here, it's collapsed entirely. And that leaves us with a terrifying question. If the known laws don't apply, what does? Then came the data that changed everything. In late October, as 3I/ATLAS approached its closest point to the sun, mission analysts at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory noticed something that made them recalibrate their instruments 3 times, certain there must be an error. There wasn't. The object was accelerating. not slowing down, accelerating. According to JPL's precise measurements, Atlas deviated from its predicted orbit by 4 arcseconds. That might sound insignificant until you do the math. At a distance of 203 million kilometers, a 4 arcsecond deviation translates to a spatial displacement of tens of thousands of kilometers. Something enormous, some invisible force, was pushing this massive object off its calculated trajectory. The acceleration itself defied belief. Atlas was moving outward, away from the Sun, at 0.22 millimeters per second squared. Simultaneously, it was drifting sideways at nearly the same rate over the course of a single month. This resulted in a displacement exceeding 80 kilometers. That's not a rounding error. That's not gravitational perturbation from distant planets. That's thrust. The calculations spread through every major observatory from Mauna Kea to the European Southern Observatory in Chile. Everyone arrived at the same conclusion. Something was propelling this object with consistent, measurable force. But what? Solar radiation pressure is far too weak to account for this. Gravitational assists from planets were impossible at that distance. Magnetic fields from the Sun couldn't generate this kind of directed momentum. That left one option that nobody wanted to say out loud: outgassing, except there was a massive problem with that theory too. To produce the observed acceleration, 3I/ATLAS would need to vent approximately 1/6 of its total mass, roughly 5 billion tons of vaporized material. That kind of outgassing would create a visible cloud so bright it would be detectable through backyard telescopes. Astronomers scanned the sky with every instrument available: radio telescopes, infrared sensors, optical arrays, UV detectors. They all returned the same reading. Nothing, no cloud, no tail, no vapor trail, just empty space and that single impossible point of light, accelerating against all reason. Here's where the entire cometary explanation falls apart completely. The Virtual Telescope Project released a comparison that should end all debate. They photographed two objects under identical conditions just days apart: Comet Lemon and 3I/ATLAS. Comet Lemon looked exactly as a comet should. A brilliant, ghostly tail streamed away from the Sun, perfectly shaped by solar radiation pressure. The coma glowed with reflected sunlight. Dust particles created a hazy envelope around the nucleus. It was textbook perfect, a living demonstration of cometary physics in action. Then look at Atlas. A dot. Just a sharp, compact, unblemished point of light. No tail. No coma. No halo. Nothing. It's like comparing a bonfire to a laser pointer. One radiates energy and motion in every direction. The other just sits there, impossibly contained, impossibly stable. When Avi Loeb ran the calculations, the numbers were damning. If the acceleration Atlas displayed were truly caused by cometary outgassing, the expelled gases would heat up from friction and solar radiation, creating a glow brighter than the full moon. You could see it with your naked eye from Earth. It would dominate the night sky, impossible to miss. The images from November 5th show nothing of the kind. Atlas's brightness magnitude remained constant. Its color stayed the same. Its shape maintained perfect symmetry. Every instrument designed to detect even the faintest traces of cometary activity, sensors calibrated to pick up dust particles just microns across, returned identical readings. 0. Dr. Gianluca Massi put it bluntly: this should not be possible. For an object to accelerate through space, something has to push it. That's Newton's third law, one of the most fundamental principles in physics. Action requires reaction. Momentum requires mass transfer. You cannot have thrust without exhaust. Unless you're 3I/ATLAS. Then apparently, you can fly without wings, burn without fuel, and accelerate without leaving a trace. It's not just breaking the rules of cometary science, it's performing a magic trick that would make physics itself disappear. And the worst part? The data is unambiguous. This isn't measurement error or atmospheric distortion. This is reality, staring back at us from the void, refusing to make sense. But the true horror wasn't just that Atlas was accelerating, it was how it was accelerating. Random outgassing produces chaotic thrust. Gas jets erupt irregularly from a comet's surface as different regions heat at different rates. The resulting acceleration is jerky, unpredictable, full of minor variations and course corrections that average out over time. 3. I/ATLAS's acceleration was nothing like that. It was smooth, consistent, perfectly aligned with the sun's position, as though someone had calculated the exact vector needed and applied force with surgical precision. The thrust wasn't random. It was deliberate. When researchers plotted the acceleration over time, they found a pattern that looked less like natural processes and more like engineering. The force remained constant within measurement error. The direction held steady. There were no fluctuations, no irregularities, no signs of the chaos that should accompany natural outgassing. This is what keeps astronomers awake at night, because smooth, controlled acceleration doesn't happen by accident. It requires either impossibly perfect conditions that nature has never produced before, or it requires guidance, control, intent. The last time we witnessed anything remotely similar was with Oumuamua, that cigar-shaped visitor from 2017 that also displayed non-gravitational acceleration without visible outgassing. But Oumuamua's effect was subtle, barely detectable, and it left our solar system before we could study it properly. 3I/ATLAS is different. Its acceleration is stronger, more pronounced, and happening right now while every telescope on Earth watches. Avi Loeb was the first to publicly suggest what the data implies. If natural processes can't explain this, then we need to consider unnatural ones. That doesn't mean jumping to conclusions. It means following the evidence wherever it leads, even if it leads somewhere that makes us profoundly uncomfortable. The pattern isn't just unusual, it's optimized, as if whoever or whatever sent this object knew exactly how much thrust to apply, exactly when to apply it, and exactly what trajectory to follow. That level of precision doesn't emerge from random chance. It emerges from calculation, from purpose, from something that understands orbital mechanics better than we do. And that's the thought that haunts every scientist looking at this data. We're not just observing an anomaly. We might be observing a demonstration. Now examine the trajectory itself, and the mystery deepens into something approaching terror. 3I/ATLAS's orbit is aligned with the ecliptic plane within just 5 degrees. For those unfamiliar with celestial mechanics, the ecliptic is the flat disk where Earth and the other planets orbit the Sun. It's the plane of our solar system. For an interstellar object arriving from deep space, having any alignment with our ecliptic is astronomically improbable. Space is three-dimensional. An object could approach from literally any angle, any direction, from anywhere in the sphere surrounding our Sun. The odds of it randomly aligning with our planetary plane are infinitesimal. Avi Loeb compared it to hitting a cosmic bullseye in total darkness. Imagine throwing a dart at a target millions of light years away, from a platform that's spinning and moving at thousands of kilometers per second, and somehow landing within millimeters of the center. That's the level of improbability we're discussing. But it gets worse. When astronomers plotted Atlas's complete trajectory, they discovered it intersects the orbits of Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. It threads through our solar system like it's following a tour guide, passing by major planets at mathematically convenient distances. Here's what it doesn't do: come anywhere near Earth during its closest approach. During perihelion, when Atlas should be easiest to observe from our planet, it instead positions itself behind the Sun, from our perspective hidden, obscured, as if deliberately avoiding optimal visibility from Earth specifically. One JPL analyst, speaking off the record, put it plainly: "This isn't random navigation, this is deliberate. The timing is too perfect. The alignment is too precise. The path through our solar system looks less like a chance encounter and more like a planned survey route. Statistical analysis confirms the suspicion. The probability of all these orbital characteristics occurring simultaneously by random chance is less than 1 in several billion. You're more likely to win the lottery 3 times in a row than to see an interstellar object naturally adopt this trajectory. Either we're witnessing the universe's most spectacular coincidence, or 3I/ATLAS is following a predetermined course, navigating through our solar system with purpose and precision that suggests intelligence behind the controls. Then came the observation that made even skeptics pause. Spectroscopic analysis revealed something that should be impossible: a directional jet of material shooting directly toward the sun. Read that again. Toward the sun. Not away from it. Toward it. This violates every principle of cometary behavior we've ever established. Solar radiation pressure pushes outward. It's one of the most fundamental forces affecting small objects in the solar system. Dust and gas are blown away from the sun, always away, creating those magnificent tails that always point outward, no matter which direction the comet is traveling. But 3I/ATLAS apparently didn't get that memo. Observations detected material ejection in the sunward direction, as if the object were actively repelling solar radiation rather than being pushed by it. It's like watching water flow uphill or smoke sink instead of rise. Several theories have emerged to explain this anomaly, and none of them involve comets. Some plasma physicists suggest electromagnetic field manipulation. If the object were generating its own magnetic field, it could theoretically channel solar wind particles, creating thrust in directions that defy normal physics. This is technology humans have only tested experimentally in laboratory conditions. Others propose more exotic explanations: metamaterial surfaces that interact with photons in ways natural substances don't, or active propulsion systems that use solar radiation as fuel rather than obstacle. These aren't wild speculations anymore. These are serious hypotheses being published in peer-reviewed journals because nothing else fits the data. The jet anomaly combines with the other observations to paint a disturbing picture. We have an object that accelerates without visible means, maintains impossible stability during solar approach, follows an improbably precise orbit, and now exhibits behavior that contradicts basic radiation physics. Each anomaly individually might be explained away. Measurement error, unusual composition, rare but natural conditions. But all of them together, the probabilities multiply into impossibility. At some point, you have to accept that what you're seeing isn't an exception to the rules. It's something playing by entirely different rules. And if it's playing by different rules, then someone or something had to write those rules first. The spectroscopic data from James Webb and ground-based observatories revealed something that sent metallurgists scrambling to verify their instruments. 3. I/ATLAS's composition isn't just unusual, it's precise. Natural celestial bodies contain metals in chaotic ratios. Asteroids are jumbled mixtures of iron, nickel, silicon, magnesium, and dozens of other elements in random proportions that reflect the violent, haphazard conditions of solar system formation. Comets are dirty snowballs, a mess of ice, dust, and organic compounds with no particular organization. 3I/ATLAS displayed a nickel-to-iron ratio that made engineers' jaws drop. It matches the composition of high-temperature aerospace alloys, the kind used in jet engines and spacecraft heat shields. These materials don't occur naturally. They're manufactured through precise metallurgical processes that require controlled heating, specific cooling rates, and deliberate mixing. The odds of nature randomly producing this exact ratio are astronomical. It would be like finding a steel I-beam growing on a tree. Technically not impossible, but so improbable that any rational person would assume artificial origin. The spectroscopy revealed more disturbing details. The object contains only 4% water by mass. That's drier than the Atacama Desert, drier than Mars, far too dry to be any comet ever observed. Comets are supposed to be ice-rich. That's what makes them comets. Remove the ice, and you're left with something else entirely. Some researchers now theorize the outer shell isn't natural material at all. It could be a ceramic composite, something engineered to withstand extreme temperatures and radiation across interstellar space. This would explain the perfect reflectivity, the absence of surface degradation, and the unusual polarization signature. That polarization signature is itself anomalous. When light reflects off 3I/ATLAS, the electromagnetic waves align with mathematical precision never seen in natural objects. Natural surfaces scatter light randomly. Polished, manufactured surfaces create ordered reflection patterns. Avi Loeb stated it plainly. If you were designing a probe to survive a billion-year journey across the galaxy, exposed to cosmic radiation, micrometeorite impacts, and temperature extremes, you would build it exactly like this: durable metals, minimal volatiles, smooth, reflective surfaces. Everything about Atlas's composition screams longevity, purpose, design. Now comes the revelation that transformed this from astronomical mystery to potential paradigm shift. When researchers plotted 3I/ATLAS's trajectory backward, extrapolating where it came from before entering our solar system, they found something that stopped everyone cold. The origin point aligned almost perfectly with the same region of sky that produced the WOW signal in 1977. For those unfamiliar, the WOW signal was a strong narrowband radio transmission detected by SETI that lasted 72 seconds and has never repeated. It came from the direction of Sagittarius, bore all the hallmarks of an artificial signal, and remains one of the most compelling pieces of evidence that we might not be alone. Scientists have chased that signal for nearly 50 years, searching for any repeat or explanation. Now, decades later, an interstellar object arrives from the same cosmic coordinates. Two phenomena, separated by half a century, pointing to the same spot in space, the same region, the same neighborhood of the galaxy. Coincidence? The mathematics say probably not. The probability of these two unrelated events randomly originating from the same small patch of sky is vanishingly small. It's like receiving a mysterious phone call from a specific address, and then decades later, receiving a mysterious package from that exact same address. But the connections don't stop there. Analysis of Atlas's orbital mechanics revealed something even more unsettling. During its closest approach to Earth on December 19, 2025, the object will be positioned behind the Sun from our perspective, hidden, invisible to our most powerful telescopes at precisely the moment when we should have the best view. This alignment isn't coincidental either. Multiple astronomers have confirmed that if someone wanted to conduct a survey of our solar system while minimizing detection from Earth specifically, this is the trajectory you would choose. It maximizes time spent observing the inner planets while using the Sun as a shield against Earth-based observations. The pattern is unmistakable. Visit major planetary orbits, avoid close Earth approach, remain hidden during optimal observation windows. It reads less like natural orbital mechanics and more like a carefully planned reconnaissance mission. One SETI researcher, speaking anonymously, said what many are thinking. If this is deliberate, then we're not just receiving a signal, we're being studied. We're now racing toward the moment that will answer everything or nothing. December 19, 2025. That's when 3I/ATLAS makes its closest approach to Earth at a distance of 167 million miles. Every major observatory on the planet will be aimed at this object. Hubble, James Webb, the Very Large Telescope, radio arrays across the globe, infrared satellites, X-ray detectors. We're mobilizing humanity's entire astronomical arsenal for this one event. The stakes couldn't be higher. If 3I/ATLAS is a comet, this is when we'll finally see the massive gas cloud that physics demands. At this distance, with these instruments, there will be no hiding place for outgassing. If it's venting even a fraction of the material necessary to produce its observed acceleration, we'll detect it. The spectral signatures will be unmistakable. The infrared glow will be obvious. The mystery will be solved, and we can all sleep soundly knowing the universe still makes sense. But what if nothing appears? What if Atlas passes by Earth exactly as it has appeared for months? A sharp, blue, perfectly compact point of light, unchanged and unexplained. Then the cometary explanation doesn't just fail, it evaporates, and we're left staring at the most profound implication in human history. The scientific community is preparing for both scenarios, but privately, many researchers admit they're bracing for the second one. The data has been too consistent, too anomalous, too precisely wrong to suddenly correct itself at the last moment. Every observation has deepened the mystery. Every analysis has moved us further from natural explanations and closer to something we're not ready to accept. Some speculate we're looking at a probe, an autonomous observer scanning our solar system as part of an ancient survey mission. Others wonder if it could be more active, a device designed to activate when civilizations reach certain technological thresholds, like nuclear capability or space exploration. The timing is certainly interesting. We've only had the ability to detect and analyze objects like this for a few decades. Our technology has only recently become sophisticated enough to notice the anomalies. Is it coincidence that such an object appears now, just as we're capable of recognizing it for what it might be? Whatever the truth, December 19th will mark a turning point. Either we confirm our understanding of the cosmos, or we confirm that the cosmos contains things we've never imagined. As December approaches, one question eclipses every calculation. What kind of intelligence engineered 3I/ATLAS? If it's artificial, and the evidence increasingly points that way, then we're witnessing technology so advanced our achievements look primitive beside it. If it's natural, we must rewrite physics. If it's artificial, then we're staring at the first undeniable sign we are not alone. As December 19th approaches, one thing is clear. The universe isn't whispering anymore. It's showing us everything and daring us to believe it.